Welcome to my podcast studio here on site at the AI Week 2025. I'm really looking forward to the conversation. Let's go. Vincent, welcome to our little podcast studio here. We are, or I am personally like trying to get interesting people from the conference here into this room and discussing in a bit more detail about AI and the stuff that they are doing. Why don't you introduce yourself quickly? What's your role? What's the company you work for? And then, as a follow-up question into the conversation, what excites you the most about AI?
Okay, so let me see if I can remember the question. So very shortly, Vincent, working at Dataiku, born in Amsterdam for the last 20 years, working and living in Germany with my family. In the role of regional vice president for sales. So the cool thing about my job is that I speak to a lot of customers, see a lot of new initiatives. What excites me about AI is Dataiku is, I would say, the AI company for the last 13 years. And it's nice to see that a lot of other companies now embrace the fact what we are trying to bring to the market already for 13 years, the democratization of the use of AI and data to actually deliver value. And I think we're now on a point that the discussion about if it's just a cost or benefit, I think now it's actually showing that we can deliver value.
Yeah. Actually, Dataiku, maybe also as a background story, we know each other actually pretty quite some time.
Yeah.
I think I met the first people from Dataiku in 2015 or something, maybe also a bit earlier. At a customer that I was working for back in the day, where Dataiku was, I think, 20, 30 people.
Yeah,
You grew a little bit.
Yeah, in that
since
time
then.
that fits.
Yeah.
The number. Yeah.
I think you recently also crossed the what was it, 400 million ARR or something?
Yeah, so the 315 million ARR
350?
mark.
Yeah.
And growing very strongly. So you say 30 to 40 people. We are now 1,400 people. So I think that also is a testimony to the growing need for these type of tools. And like I said, Dataiku, 13 years doing, I would say, the thing that we're doing now in one product, making sure that everybody in the company can benefit from data and machine learning or AI, how you want to phrase it. And it's been a thrill to work here, right? So
How long are you with Dataiku now?
this is I'm now in my 7th year, so
Oh,
a long
also
time.
quite some time. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, you work with like a lot of different customers from all kinds of industries, and you get a lot of input on the topic from those kinds of conversations. But for you personally, what do you think is, because we're at that moment like a kind of a also narratives that are kind of diverging. Some people are speaking that AI might be a bubble that's going to burst soon. Other people are saying you cannot really foresee how big the impact of the technology are. Other people are saying it will transform everything in the next decade. So there's a kind of diverging narrative, and this is why I'm asking this question everyone on this podcast. Do you think that AI is an under or overrated technology?
I would say underrated. I'm more I would say, on the side of that AI will change a lot of things. I mean, everybody sees it already in private life. I would think, when you are not having an LLM or ChatGPT or a Gemini available for you, how you did things by investigating much more and having much more time to write stuff. So I think what you experience in private, you also expect on your working environment. And like I said, I think we are just on the tipping point of what is possible.
Yes.
And and it's an exciting time. And I cannot say is it next year that it will be that everybody believes AI is something you need to adopt and start using, or that it needs another 2 years. But I think also the fact that we now have an act from the EU concerning around this theme should realize everybody that it's real and it's there to stay and to be used to our benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. And Yeah, I totally see it that way. It will probably be like really not like a step change all the time, but more like a smooth curve
Yes.
that we're on the
And I
trajectory.
mean, for one company, the curve can be a little bit more steep than the other. But yeah, it will definitely, I would say, not using it and ignoring it is probably not the best strategy.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, yeah, but maybe let's also go into there a little bit. I mean, Dataiku, as you mentioned, key idea of the product is to kind of democratize the use of AI and also making sense of data also in the
Yep.
organization. Can you briefly describe like what the platform is, what it does, maybe for those people
Yeah,
who don't know the
yeah,
product?
I can. Like I said, 13 years ago, our founders, who are still our C-level in the company, had an idea to create one product, one platform to serve, I would say, a data project or a machine learning project from A to B. So from sourcing your data in the end to providing insights to the end user. And yeah, we have been doing it for ever now, in the sense that we have one platform that can be used by coders, non-coders, business analysts, and the likes. They work in one interface, depending if you're coding or non-coder. And what comes with that, if you have a lot of people working in your platform and they can use all kinds of data, being it structured, unstructured, video files, whatever, you need a certain type of governance also. And that is an integrated part of the platform so that we can make sure that everything is done according to your internal compliance rules. You can explain it to your regulatory bodies outside. So nothing is a black box and is explainable. And last but not least, we as a vendor and platform provider make sure you also can tap into the new technologies of today and from tomorrow. So just as the platform was able to connect to, I would say, from on-prem to cloud, and then from Kubernetes and other technologies, we now also have the same platform that connects to all possible LLMs that are coming out every day. So you have this optionality in the platform without changing all your business logic of your use cases. So yeah, I think that sums up the platform what Dataiku is providing.
Yeah. Can you maybe double click a little bit on the kind of democratization idea of the platform?
Yeah, so besides that, we have a lot of partners and services around educating people on how to use data and machine learning. I think the barrier to work with data comes maybe also from people who don't know SQL, don't know how to join the data tables, and that of course we try to make very intuitive, but also using I would say agents within our platform that help people to define the next step. And in this way, we try to take everybody along on this journey to AI maturity. And yeah, I think that is one of the key components to having this low no code component in the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I spoke with multiple people also here about the importance of bringing AI to really all of the organization. And I think this is also one of the ideas that I found really intriguing. Also, when I first saw
Yeah.
Dataiku, I can remember that we used it a lot in. So I can remember one specific story. So I was attending a hackathon that we did with a large airline. And the idea of the hackathon was basically to predict the arrival delay of planes. And it was actually real data. So they exported it from their systems. And there were like 20 teams working on this task. I was working with two colleagues. And I used Dataiku to do that. And the really cool thing, what really stuck in my mind was I had the first prediction after 15 minutes, just because, as you mentioned, you could really easily kind of plug together all the data sources, do the joining, fitting it several models and making predictions. And the first submission into the leader table from the other teams was 1.5 hours. So meaning I was like 10x faster than the rest of the teams. And it was so easy to use. And this idea of the platform really stuck to me. And I think it's also one of the really great things that are in the kind of product vision really deeply embedded.
Yeah, and I think that is also, but will stay and is something that we will see as a major benefit of what we're doing for our customers and the prospects. And funny that you mentioned it because we have our front runner awards where clients can give their ideas where they think they really excelled in something. And one of our clients, logistic provider, big one, provided a use case from an analyst who doesn't know how to write Python or create a model. But he won the Dataiku Agentic Award because he created an agent without any code who helps them to predict the best use of their airplanes to save fuel. So yeah. So no Python, no coding, but a very sophisticated use
That's so,
case.
it's such an interesting topic, this democratization aspect of AI. I mean, it's on your platform, but also on a more general level. People now get really kind of enabled to do things. You also see it with tools like Lovable or things like that, that you can actually start based on your idea, and the entry barrier of doing something becomes lower and lower and lower, meaning that if you really think this through in the next years, you actually, everyone in a company or everyone in a private life or whatever can build things, right?
Yeah.
Can write software, can build applications, can optimize processes, like in this kind of combination together with AI, which I think is absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, and with that comes also a little bit of a risk, of course. If everybody starts building, you want to make sure that you have some guardrails around it, what is being in your enterprise being used. So, like I said, we enable and give a lot of freedom, but in the end, you also want to make sure that you are governed and have enough audit trail to make sure that you are staying within what you want.
Yeah, that would also be my kind of next question. I mean, Dataiku is like in a lot of different companies. How would you kind of describe the, let's say, the maturity journey of those companies? And the reason why I'm asking is because, in my opinion, this idea of having a platform is kind of also hinting you a little bit where that company is in their thinking, right?
Yep.
Because this approach of centralizing things and having a central governance around everything is actually something that comes typically after you made some mistakes.
Yes,
Yeah. What's your thoughts on that? So what is it that you typically see? What stages do those companies undergo in their
No,
journey?
I think you're right. So if you just start and you have one single use case or a handful of use cases, then a central governed platform for all your use cases is maybe then an overkill because it's still overseeable. But what we see with our, I would say, customers who are longer in the journey and are applying machine learning techniques longer, we're not talking about a handful, we're talking about hundreds or thousands of use cases. And not only in Dataiku, because with our bigger clients, we are not in the vacuum, so we also have models running in cloud environments. You want to make sure you have a centralized registry or a catalog where you can see which models are being run in production, which versions, which need maintenance. So it's sometimes if you talk to a prospect who is just starting, this is of course a problem that may arise in a year or 2 years. So it's harder to convince them that based on best practices from other customers, it's a wise decision. But just like humans, you first need to learn from a mistake
Yeah.
before you correct
You
something.
have to feel the pain
And
yourself.
companies are not so much different.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to feel the pain a little bit yourself
You can
before.
tell a child something is hot, but they first want to always touch it before they know it's really
Yeah.
hot. Yeah.
What are the things that you're currently seeing in the market as kind of like topics that the customers find important, or what they care about?
I think, and that's not just a hype, but I think the whole agentic AI or agent is now taking off because we see the first customers experimenting with it, and every enterprise, I would say, application has its agent, of it's just ServiceNow or Salesforce. And now it becomes very interesting because if you, just like in the past, you have a lot of projects, you want to manage also the interfaces of these agents because every agent has its own interface where you have to talk to. So how is a user finding the right agent to ask his question? That will be the next challenge. So what we now recently launched is the idea of an agent hub. So you have one central location where you ask your question to one agent, and the agent knows which agents are connected in your enterprise and selects the best agent to answer your question. So to make the complexity, and like I said, not many customers have this yet, but you will see you will enter with hundreds of agents, and then it's nice that you can prompt them, but which one do you need to prompt? So this is a little bit thinking about the problems for tomorrow, but I think that is really resonating very well because everybody knows how it was in the old days with a data catalog. You need one in the end because you have a lot of tables that you want to, and that is the same will be with agents. So to have a very clear understanding for the end user where to prompt or where to ask this question. And a second thing, and that is more HR related, how is this hybrid collaboration happening? Yeah? So you have real people and you have agents. So how is this connection of the interaction going to take place? And where do you have still tight control of humans or the human in the loop, and where can you be more loose? But yeah, these are interesting topics that are now, nobody has a real answer on it, but yeah, everybody's thinking about how that should
go. Yeah, I think that's such an interesting point, because especially what you mentioned, that you have, like with agents and also in general with generative AI, you have a very fragmented space now. So every SaaS application, every software product, every vendor is kind of integrating it on their own. Like, meaning you have when you have an enterprise software landscape, you have, like, in the future, I don't know, 100 different agents from 100 different vendors. And I'm really having a hard time thinking about how that could be, like, orchestrated in a meaningful way. Also, when you take a look, or when you take a like employee-centric look, I mean, completely overwhelmed then by, I can type in something here, I can type in some there. So I really think that the idea of centralization and then controlling those other applications from a kind of centralized hub or platform really makes a lot of sense, because otherwise it's completely overwhelmed, right?
And that is from the user perspective. But the second part is, okay, you want to have trace files, or you want to make sure that you can understand what was communicated between agents, where it might was not the correct answer, so that you can pinpoint it, retrain it, or correct this error. So it's not only from a user perspective where to go, but also from an IT governance perspective. You have a traceability on your answers, and where might be a broken connection between two agents.
From all of those experiences that you had, like in the last, I don't know, 3 years since the rise of generative AI, what was a really interesting kind of learning for you, where you said, okay, wow, for example, a customer, this is something really smart they did, or something that would be of value for others to
Yeah. So I mean, we always look at those moonshot projects, but I would say the most interesting are also the most usable and concrete ones. So I would take the example of I would say it's not an agent, it's more a chatbot that is used by personnel in the supermarket. So, we have a difficulty of attainment in supermarket personnel. They changed a lot. They not always are capable of speaking German. So what this supermarket chain did, they created this chat bot. So if a customer asks about an allergy from a bestimmt strawberry marmalade or jam, they can type it in. They get the translation in German or in Chinese or whatever, and they can show it or tell the client
for in-store
customer feedback on the device. So
that's cool.
Using a LLM for this, yeah. So I think that's a very concrete example, which is also in production. So it's used every day in the stores.
Yeah, I mean, that's also an interesting topic, like what you mentioned, that the actual use cases that make it into production, it's like a very tiny steps that kind of compound in value over time. And I only knew a very few customers where this happened the other way around, where just, okay, we have this one big idea and we solve that. we will solve like the whole business.
Yeah,
There
we
are
take the most complex one. If we solve that one, then we
so
can
there
solve
are
everything.
actually, I recently had a really interesting conversation with one of our customers who actually, so it's not the biggest, they're not super big, but they actually generate a lot of value in a very specific process. And if they solve this one process, they can actually run their business on autopilot.
Yeah.
So there are some examples where this is possible. Typically in a large organization, you rather have the small steps that are compounding somehow over time. But also this expectation of value from AI is also something that I have a lot of in discussions with like partners and who are really now pushing towards this topic. Okay, where exactly can we get the value out of the technology? Meaning somehow this kind of experimentation phase is a bit over. Do you also see this?
Yeah, and I think the whole Gen AI from a private use, I think, has proven itself. And Gen AI in the business, by having a chatbot, might not give the efficiency gains that a CDO is looking for. Maybe, let's say, until 5%, which is not enables you to reallocate people or do your business differently. But I think with agents, you can automate a process. And there, I think we are more talking about up to 30% of efficiency gains. And then, of course, you can think about reallocating work and changing and be more cost effective in the things that you do. So, but yeah, we have to prove that first. So, yeah, and I think the big difference is always what you can do at home. Most of the time, you can not do in a company because of internal compliance rules. So it always needs a little bit of an adoption, not only for the company, also the environment, the regulatory bodies need to understand because they are also just human and have to find out what it means and how they have to control it. But yeah, I think we are on a very interesting time in time, and in the coming 3 years will be very dynamic and interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially what you said, the like this new spectrum of agentic capabilities where the systems are actually able to do something, at least in the virtual world, like commanding other systems, entering stuff in database and stuff like that. This really gives a new kind of opportunity to rethink also how processes are operating. And we get a lot at the moment that customers are kind of thinking not in the like traditional way where they say, okay, we have this kind of human process and there's only like this one tiny step where I can bring in AI. So they rethink the process like AI first and think where should we bring the human in. And this is a completely new way of thinking which wasn't really possible before. To come to the conclusion now of our conversation, what do you think, or in your perspective, and I also ask this question to everyone, what is the one thing that AI should be solving, right? So there's like a massive space of things an AI can do, but for you personally, what would be the one thing where you say, okay, wow, that would be really great if an AI solved it?
Yeah, we can think about world peace, but let's bring it a little bit more personally, and I think also reachable. I think in the coming 12 to 18 months, I find it very interesting the concept of personal assistance. So an agent that's doing stuff for me, and I think it's always a very big hassle to book a holiday for the whole family. So it would be great if I could have an assistant, an agent, who based on the prior holidays that we had and the wishes of the children and my wife and myself, budget and timing, can make three, I would say, recommendations and then execute. So book it, pay it, notify me that the tickets are there and that kind of stuff. That would be, I would say, big next step in my personal life for using it. Yeah.
Booking.com is probably working on.
I hope as a Dutch company they should stay longer in business. Yeah.
Cool. And last question. I mean, you as a company also attending a lot of conferences. Also here at the AI Week, you are partner sponsoring the event. So what motivates you to like to go there? What is it that you want to take out of events like
Now,
this?
yeah, like I already at the beginning said, I think AI Week is becoming a marker for Germany in AI. So, and I would say AI or innovative technologies. Yeah, so because we tend to put everything under AI, but and I think it's also for the people attending. I always ask if they would come next year, or I see a lot of people who also were last year. They like the fact that they have like 5 days in a row that they can get, I would say, a lot of vendors, a lot of insights from customers. So yeah, that is for me the value of the event. So speaking to a lot of potential prospects, existing customers, but also finding out what everybody thinks about and what is possible or not possible.
Yeah. What's really cool also about Dataiku's presence here is that we will do an AI dinner together, which is a project that I'm hosting here in Frankfurt. It's called The Bite. So it's actually the idea to create an AI composed menu. And also here, one of the reasons why we started it is to think about how or in what other fields than traditional like corporate businesses can AI have an impact and create something new. And this is what we will be doing tonight together with some of our customers and also prospects. Really looking forward to that. I think will be a great session again. The menu is already prepared. It's really cool. And I really like the idea of doing that together with you. Really cool. Thank
Yeah,
you
I'm
so much.
looking forward to it. Yeah, so thank you.
So thank you very much for attending this little podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time, and yeah, all the best for the rest of the week, and we'll see each other outside.
Tonight. Yeah, thank you very much for having me, and yeah, for the time spent.
Thank you. If you want to see more interesting content about AI, all of the presentations from AI Week, all of the keynotes, all of the panel discussions, go to our website and check out the videos.